Today, I have with me a leader who has been with Philips India for more than 20 years. Please welcome Mr. Gulbahar Taurani, who envisions to create a purpose driven and future ready organization that is loved and admired by all. On that note, we welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Soumya. Good morning.
Good morning. So, sir, let me begin with asking you, the overall contours of the domestic appliances industry in India. How has it really performed in the past 2 years? What have been some of the dominating trends? What's your observation on that?
I think past 2 years, if you would look, we all went through, I think, one of the most difficult times of our period, which was COVID. So, the industry initially was actually quite a bit in a shock because no one was prepared for a pandemic like COVID. But post that, what the industry witnessed was a positive impact of COVID because more and more people were at home, and people realized that home is also a place where they need more help in terms of convenience, making their day more healthier, convenient, and all. And industry had a very positive impact of that. And that's why I believe that the trends on health, the trends on convenience, help small domestic appliances grow in various segments. So when I say various segments, so whether it is the kitchen appliances or the ironing solutions or the air purification devices that are there today, which is an important necessity of the households, or even for that matter, vacuum cleaners, which are there in the country for quite some time, but had very little traction. All these segments were quite welcomed by the consumers, and the industry saw a very good growth in all the small appliances devices that we see in the country today.
So, taking cue from the same answer, you just told us that convenience and health have been at the epicenter. So, was this true for over the years, or has this been a trend in the last 2 years?
No, I think this was true over the years. I would say
Okay.
if you look at the last 2 decades, actually, we as a country are becoming more and more health conscious. Okay,
Yeah.
people want the best of the gadgets, the best of the appliances for them. So this trend was there. I think COVID only accelerated the space of the trend, but the trend was already there. If you will see, Philips was the brand who introduced air fryers in the country in the year 2013, and we got a lot of love from the consumers because consumers now can have their favorite fried food with minimum or no oil. Now,
Right.
this is what I this is why I say that there was a trend. People were actually looking at how they can eat better, how they can maintain their homes better, and what all they can do to make their homes a better place to live in. I think that's where the trend started picking up, and COVID has only accelerated.
So, it wouldn't be wrong to say that you have been in the business for donkey's years now. What is your understanding of the Indian consumer, and how are you making sure that Philips stands relevant at all times?
See, I say this to all my stakeholders that one of the most smartest consumers that you see across the globe is an Indian consumer. Okay, I
Okay.
think Indian consumers normally we say that they are value conscious. I don't believe in it. I think they are more and more, I would say, aware of what's the value addition that anything is bringing to them. And
Sure.
if you can show that value addition to the Indian consumer, the Indian consumer is willing to explore, experiment, and give you their trust. That's why I believe that the brands and the marketers have to look at that. What is the value that you are bringing to the consumer? If you are clear about it, if you're clear about the consumer needs, if you are able to convert those needs into valuable propositions, I think one of the best place to introduce all such innovations is India because consumers are willing to experiment and explore.
How are you actually reaching out to these consumers? What is your marketing strategy, your communication strategy really like? What is your media mix?
So before we go to the strategy bit of it, because I think strategy has various legs, but
Yeah.
the most important thing for us at Philips is like we really want to create communication which is relevant to the consumers, okay, which is understandable and accessible to the consumers. Now, to make it accessible, there are various platforms that we are using. And I would say that we are in a very good age where not only we have the benefit of traditional mediums, whether that is TV, print, radio, everything,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we also have digital where you can actually engage and make a two-way communication with the consumers. So we use a mix of that. And I think more and more what I see is the consumers are also becoming more and more responsive, and they want to actually share how they do really feel about the communication, the products, the services of the company or the brand. And that's what is at the core of everything that we are doing. So I won't say that we are focusing on a particular medium, but we are looking at the target audience, and basis their requirement and their availability, we are choosing on which medium to go for, and how to utilize all the available resources that we have. Because as I said, we are living in a very, very good era where the resources are not limited. It's about your clarity of thought and your understanding of the consumers which help you choose the medium.
Sure. And talking of your product portfolio, how would you really evaluate the role of technology, innovation, and design accents in your products?
I think the role of technology is humongous today,
Okay.
because you look at it, and I never confuse technology with digital. I think digital is a part of the technology. Okay, so
Sure.
technologically, if you will see, the world is evolving, technology is evolving, and just to share with you, last year we introduced a product which is a simply silent mixer grinder. Now,
Okay.
there is a big role of technology in creating a mixer grinder into a silent mixer grinder. And it's a small thing. So the small thing is that the jars that normally we use in the mixer grinders are steel jars. And then there are some, hard ingredients that we crush in that jar. So the jar is
Yeah.
bound to make noise. Now,
Yeah.
how do you use technology to ensure that you have a jar which absorbs the noise and gives you a silent experience while you are crushing the hard ingredients? So
Yeah.
that is the role of the technology, and that's why I may be sounding more like an engineer who's talking about mechanical and electrical technology, but I just want to emphasize on this point that technology is not limited to digital nowadays, because the moment we say technology, having said that, having that jar, how can we give a better experience to the consumer is like we have a digital interface in that mixer grinder where the consumer need not to decide anything. They have to just press one button as per the recipes that they want to do. And that's why I'm saying traditional technology, digital put together, is creating a great experience for the consumer.
Okay. So, sir, there was this recent report that suggested that consumer durable companies are seeing an increase in demand for value-added or premium products
Yes,
in comparison to the entry-level products. Do you feel the same?
100%. As I said, the consumer is becoming more and more aware. They want to actually experiment and explore, and that's why you see that everyone is feeling that increase in demand in new innovation, upgraded versions of the old technology and all, because there is a consumer who's asking that, give me the best. Okay.
Okay.
And that's why I believe that not only today, in the coming at least 1 to 2 decades, you will see that the consumer would be more moving towards the best available solutions rather than, I think restricting themselves to, entry end products or something like that.
Okay, sure. So coming down to my next question, we know that the online space is burgeoning and impacting sales of the brick and mortar stores. How do you expect both of these spaces to flare up in the next 2 years?
I think, see, as I shared with you, with all the resources available, it is not only that the choices are available with the brand, actually the choices are available with the consumer also.
Right, right.
But the consumer is very, very clear that every touch point, whether it is an offline touch point, whether it's an online touch point, give me the best in class experience. We
Right.
keep on hearing the stories saying the consumer researches on online but buys offline. Okay.
Yeah.
Consumer takes a demonstration on offline but buys on online. So it is a consumer era where you can't actually restrict the consumer. The consumer has the choice to go and buy from wherever they want. As a brand, as an organization, what we are trying to do is we are trying to create that best-in-class experience for the consumers at all the touch points. And we at Philips strongly believe that all the channels, whether it is offline or online, has a role to play. Okay.
Okay.
And we will see this mix to stay like that in the coming 2 to 3 years also. I don't see that one channel would be dominating the other channel. I think every channel will have a role to play, and that's why we are quite confident that our role is to create that experience for the consumer and allow the consumer to make the choice from where they buy.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, sir. So coming down to my last question, what are some of the trends that you anticipate in the domestic appliances sector in the coming 2 years?
I think three things. I
Okay.
bucket it into three things. One is I would say healthy eating. And when I say healthy, it has to be healthy as well as tasty. So that's why I think more and more appliances would be required who will make consumers eat healthy as well as without compromising on the taste that they want. Okay, it's one of the most going to pick up even more. The second trend that I see is very important is the entire concept on indoor air. I think
Okay.
people are getting more and more aware that the indoor air is as I would say polluted as an outdoor air, and that's the sort of a thing. So a lot of people are, and we as brands are also trying to create awareness around what are the impacts of the harmful toxins that we have in the indoor air, and how can you protect that, protect yourself and your family from that. That's the second thing that I think that's the trend, and the third trend is more about hygienic home. And when I say that, you will see more and more gadgets to help you clean your home with a lot of convenience and with a lot of more with lot more I would say precision in terms of taking the dust and the entire bacteria and viruses out of your home. That's the third trend that is picking up, and you will see more and more relevant in the country coming the coming days.
Thank you, sir. Some very interesting insights from the conversation. I'm sure the audiences will have their takeaways as well. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Soumya, for the opportunity, and looking forward to connecting you again.
Yes, thank you.